I'm Justin Boyd.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
And I'm Amber Churchwell.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to discuss Wicked, the musical fantasy film that hit the box office, took the box office by storm in November around Thanksgiving holiday. Now it's streaming on Peacock. So we're here to talk about it today. But before we get to the movie, I want to get Amber and Brittany's thoughts on just Wicked as a whole. Because going into the movie, I didn't know anything about Wicked at all. So what is y'all's relationship with the book or the musical, the play? Amber, go to you first. Do you have any history with Wicked before the film?
Extensive history. I fell in love with Wicked in 2008. And when I was 13, thank you, Brittany. Brittany has photos. In 2009, I went to, my parents surprised me this night to go see Wicked. I was for my 13th birthday. I was already in love with it, but my parents and my family knew absolutely nothing about it. So they just heard me yammering on about it for ages and ages. So they surprised me by taking me to LA for my birthday, and I had zero idea why. And I was not really a dress kind of girl when I was little. So my brother is also in San Diego, and so my parents, I was so dumb. I saw that they were playing it near us, and so I was like, oh, we should go see if they have tickets. And they're like, oh yeah, if we can manage it, whatever, we're here also going to have dinner with your brother or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So like, we're going to be right near the theater. That's really cool for this dinner. I was so excited. And they wanted me to dress up in this nice dress that they picked out for me, and I was like, well, it's just dinner with my brother and his girlfriend. Why would I get all dressed up for this? And they were just like, they were going on the fly, and they're like, your brother is proposing tonight, so you got to get dressed up or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. So I got all dressed up, and then before the dinner, we were just going to see if they have tickets, and we're just standing around here for ages before I was like, well, because my dad was just standing around smoking, so I'm like, well, why isn't he asking? Why isn't he going up anywhere? And my mom was just grabbed me by the arms and was like, Amber, we're going to see it. We had tickets. And I, had my little squealing 13-year-old girl freaking out moment. And then maybe 5 minutes later, I just froze, and I'm like, what about my brother?
Oh,
and she's like, your brother doesn't even know we're here.
As we say in the South, and I say this with the utmost love I have for you, bless your damn heart.
Yeah, it was real embarrassing, but I also had this Grimmery. Well, it was called a Grimmery, but it's about the original stage Broadway production. So it has like beautiful photos and everything. I would have it with me if it wasn't in storage, but I still have it. And I got it signed by most of the cast. I just didn't get Fiyero and Elphaba. Those are the only ones I didn't get. It was really, really cute because Nessa and Bach, for reasons I cannot say until the next movie, they wrote in certain colors, which is really, really cool. But after that, my childhood best friend and I went to go see it, and I've also went to see it with my partner, and that's me and Kaylee in the middle. We've been friends since we were 12, so she was like with me throughout the entire Wicked phase, and Wicked is about friendship, so we very much had this sentimental moment. And I said when we were little, like, one day we're going to go see it, someday we're going to go see it together. And she didn't know that they were coming to where we lived in Arizona, so I surprised her one Christmas with this. I did a confetti box, and at the bottom of the box were the tickets. And we did that night they were doing a fundraiser. So if you donated a certain amount of money after the show or before the show, I think it was after the show, they would you could come onto set and actually see the whole set designs, the costumes, and the tour was led by the actors who played Fiyero and Bach. I was trying to look at the theater's website because this was in 2019. So I tried to see who was playing them. So I tried to find out which actors were those two men in the photo. I could not get it. But Bach was standing on my side, and next to Kaylee was Fiyero. And I wore my green little sash, and we got photos in front of the wizard head, and got to see a whole bunch of other different set and prop pieces and the costumes, and it was so beautiful. And Kaylee and I really, really benefited from doing it. It was definitely a bit more extra money, but the fundraiser was to benefit media and theater education for children across the country. So it was like something we really, really love and support. Between that, I've seen it with my sisters, because my mom and my dad fell in love with it when they went with me when I was 13. They started, honestly, my both during Defying Gravity, I looked over and my mom and my dad were crying. Like, they were so touched. And there's a song in Act 2 that my mother also cried in, and it's still to this day one of her favorite songs from a musical. So I've seen it 4 times, and I love it every single time. They've been talking about doing this movie since I've been interested in Wicked. So it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And I think it's 19 years, and we are finally getting it. And I just was so excited for it. And sorry for the long ramble, but that's my history with it.
No, that's okay. That's good to hear. Yeah, the stage musical's been around since 2003, and the book that the musical is kind of loosely based on came out in 1995. And that's by Gregory Maguire.
Extremely loose.
Before I go to Brittany real quick, Amber, have you read the book?
Yes,
Okay.
I read it when I was 13. You should not read that book when you're 13. Well, honestly, some argue you shouldn't read that book ever. But I was way too young, and I distinctly remember the very kind older lady at Barnes & Noble said that, "Oh, you're gonna love it." That woman should not have sold it to me. She literally should have been to my parents and been like, "This is not for children," because there are some naughty things in there. Oh, goodness gracious. So, yes, I read the book. And I've also...
It is called Wicked, so,
Yeah, and I've also read the sequels to it,
Okay.
Son of a Witch, and whatever the other one is called.
It's a series.
So
Yeah.
Brittany, I don't know if you have any visual aids to go with what Amber had, but
Sorry,
what's your history with Wicked, the book, the musical?
So I was familiar with the musical first before reading the book. It's been, years since I've read the book. I'm actually in the middle of rereading it again, and I remembered far too much about it than I wished. So I agree with Amber. It's definitely not a book that you would think should be read by young teenagers. However, the content of the book is so different from the stage play, and the movie is also different in ways from the stage play. But as I said, I'm more familiar with the musical first, and that is all because I was in choir, and in high school we performed the song Defying Gravity, and it was a tough song to sing then. It's a tough song to sing now. So don't anticipate me being able to hit that high note at the very end, because your girl cannot do it. Man, it's a tough note. However, I've seen the stage play twice, I want to say. The first time was high school. The second time was not that long ago. I actually went with some high school friends, took my now husband with me, and it was his first time seeing Wicked, I believe. And it was great. I mean, I love stage performances. I love being able to see musicals come to life like that. And when the movie was first announced, I was very apprehensive about it, just because I know that sometimes these movie adaptations aren't always well done. However, the musicals that I've seen and have enjoyed have done extremely well. I feel like Phantom of the Opera, you got Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum, who are just wonderful in my personal opinion. Les Mis is another one that I absolutely love, from stage to movie. Have Haven't seen Cats. Don't intend to. But I will say the first time I watched Wicked Part 1, and I say it this way because unlike the stage play, the movie has been split up into 2 parts because they are trying to tell a deeper story about these characters that you would not be able to get during the 3-hour show that is Wicked. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So anticipate another 3 hours of part 2 when it comes out next year, y'all. So yeah.
This year. Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, I keep forgetting that we're in this year. Yes, this year, later this year,
And,
November.
I'll
of
get
this
the
year.
exact information here in a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, for me personally, I the first time I watched this movie, I did not care for it. Dun, dun,
Wow.
dun.
Well, let me hit you with the movie facts before we get to your thoughts. But I want to say thanks to Yesenia and to King B Johnson for joining us in the live chat. We really appreciate it. And Yesenia was pointing out that yes, before like it is part 1 of the film. And let me hit you with some Wicked facts before we get everybody's thoughts on the film. Well, first off, let me talk about my relationship to Wicked. I had none. I literally knew nothing about it. In fact, if you watched us when we reviewed Agatha All Along back in October, there was an episode where Agatha was dressed up like the Wicked Witch of the West, and I didn't even really know that. Like I have seen The Wizard of Oz when I was a little kid, but I don't. I remember Dorothy and the clicking her heels and the dog and the Tin Man and the lion, all that stuff. I remember that stuff, but like I haven't seen it. We're talking 30 something, 40 possibly years, like long, long time ago. So my relationship is almost nil. My college girlfriend had the book on a shelf, and I never really looked into it. But I do remember the image, the cover image of Elphaba or Glinda like whispering in Elphaba's ear. I remember that image, and so I knew it was like a popular play, but I really didn't know even that it was about Wizard of Oz kind of stuff. So um, seeing this movie for me was like I was just like blown away. I mean, obviously before I saw it, I knew it was about the Wizard of Oz, but leading up to this, I did not know much about Wicked. So let me hit you with some Wicked facts. Let's get going here. The movie released November 22nd, 2024. And yes, the title screen on the film is Wicked Part 1. The sequel, Wicked for Good, is scheduled to release on November 21st of this year. So I think we're all looking forward to that one. This film received 10 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Lead Actress, and Best Supporting Actress. And it won Best Costume Design and Best Production Design. I think rightfully so. Runtime, 2 hours, 40 minutes. Budget 150 million, box office 744 million, making it the highest grossing Oz related film, the highest grossing musical film adaptation of all time, and the 5th highest grossing movie of 2024. It was directed by John M. Chu, who has also most notably directed Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights, another musical. It was written by Winnie Holzman and Dana Fox, and the cast includes or features Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jonathan Bailey, Ethan Slater, Bowen Yang, Marissa Bode, Peter Dinklage, aka the Dink, Michelle Yeoh, and Jeff Goldblum. Amber, I want to get your thoughts, overall thoughts on Wicked Part 1, the film.
Well, I loved it, but that's mainly because again, I've waited almost over 20 years for this.
Yeah.
So I really, really like it. And genuinely, I think they all did an amazing job. I, of course, was a little concerned about like, because I've only seen Ariana really do more poppy things. So this was definitely a little bit like nerve-wracking, but she genuinely has so much history with Glinda. Like, she saw Kristen Chenoweth in her original Broadway run, and she even said like, "Hey, one day I hope to actually be able to play Glinda." And she actually has like a relationship and bond with the character, so that kind of made me give some leeway to it, and then it can just continue on from there. I've always had a thing for Fiyero, and I am a Bridgerton fan, and the Jonathan Bailey is in Bridgerton, and he is also in he plays Fiyero, so it's just a little bit of a weakness for me. But
So is the horse. It's the same
yes, so
horse.
is the horse. He's a good horse, okay? He has a good job acting
The goodest.
career. And sorry, I'm wrangling cats while I'm talking. But I genuinely really, really enjoyed it. I loved all the subtle little nods. I am sad that some dialogue, minor dialogue, was missed from the musical. Like there's a joke in the Oz's ballroom about lemons, melons, and pears. Oh my, with a cocktail juice that they have. And then also when the first time that Fiyero meets Elphaba, he says like, oh, maybe the horse saw green and thought it meant go. And things like that, small things that don't really matter. So I overall loved it. I cannot wait for good.
Yeah, and I do want to say we are spoiling part 1. We're not spoiling part 2 because I don't know what happens, and I really want to see the movie. I want to go in blind. I know that y'all know the story from reading the book and from seeing the play or seeing the musical, but I don't know what happens, and I don't want to know right now. So, and if you're in the chat, don't spoil it for me, please don't. But we're gonna have a good discussion about part 1. So, so Brittany, following up with what Amber said, what are your overall thoughts on Wicked Part 1?
It's like almost appropriate that Christian and McDorks is joining us in the chat because Christian and I had the same feelings about Wicked after watching it. And Christian, kudos to you for doing the holding that note at the very end of Defying Gravity because your girl can't not do it. Not doing it. Not even attempting it. Sorry. I know we periodically you'll hear a musical note or two come out of me, but this is the one I'm not going to attempt because I can't do it. So that being said, I watched this movie, sadly, by myself on Thanksgiving because I was recovering from COVID and the flu. That's right, COVID and the flu. Everyone else was having Thanksgiving dinner. I was watching Wicked in the theater by myself, but that's fine. I liked the movie for what it was. I love the production sets. I love the costumes. There was something that I could not put my finger on that I just didn't care for. And I'm sad to say this because I'm a genuine fan of hers. I don't know if I like Ariana Grande in the role as Galinda or Glinda, whatever. And it's nothing to do with talent. Okay. She has that raw talent. Girl fought for that role. Very much deserved it. I'm not taking anything away from her. But I felt like because of her status as a pop star, in a way was going to take away from that of the movie. Because she's huge. She's a huge name. And she's worked hard for it. I can't reiterate that enough. Cynthia Erivo, I was not familiar with her at all in terms of just her acting and her performances on Broadway and things of that nature. Phenomenal. I couldn't think they've chosen a better Elphaba because holy crap. But like they're saying here in the chat, for me, it was too damn long. It was way too long for me to sit through for 3 hours. And that's because this is a musical. I love musicals. Okay. But it was dragged out for far too long for me. But other than that, there was something about Ariana Grande being Galinda that I just did not particularly care for. That's on the first watch. I have since rewatched it. Your girl rewatched it yesterday. I don't hate it. I actually liked it better on the rewatch. So I don't know. I don't know what's happened. Maybe
you don't
because
hate
of
it.
I don't hate it.
Quite the positive review, yeah.
Shut up. Maybe because of the fact that I was able to watch it in my own home at my own pace. If I needed to pause, I could do so, and it was going to be fine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was about the rewatch that I was able to actually enjoy it a little bit more. Yesenia in the chat here says, I blame COVID. You know what? That seems valid to me too. That was a rough time, y'all. I got COVID and the flu twice in 2 months. I missed the holidays, both holidays. It was crazy. Christian and McDork says, Michael said your opinion is too damn long. Damn, boy. Okay, when I come see you in July, we're gonna have words. See how long that's gonna take. Um, Christian says we have rewatched it 6 times already, but first time watching it was too long, damn long. Yes, I agree. I agree.
Okay, well, I think I might be the most. Go ahead, Amber. What were you gonna say?
I don't, only because movie theaters are long. I mean, seeing it in like actual production is long, and seeing it in an actual film where they could actually get into those details, I lived for it. I was so excited. I was so excited to see those details. And even though, yeah, it's a long movie, I didn't really mind or really care because I got more content, and that's kind of what I enjoy. And I mean, there are things that are go very, very long, like Lord of the Rings, and that's an amazing classic. And there are things that go movies and shows that go very long too. People do shows binging and they have no problem sitting on their couch watching something for 6 hours. So I honestly, if I wanted to get my musical, I wanted to get as much as possible. I wanted to be the opposite of rushed, which is exactly what it was. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, very well said. I agree. Like I enjoyed the runtime wasn't a problem for me. And runtime's only a problem when it's not good. Like there are movies, there were movies that I saw around that time. There was a movie that came out that same weekend that was not short and it felt like it was 10 hours long. And I'm going to talk about that now. But as far as my overall thoughts on the film, as I said, knew nothing about Wicked going in. But however, last year I saw a movie called Deadpool and Wolverine 5 times in the theater. And I saw a bunch of movies over the summer and throughout the year, right? And every time I would go see a movie, I would always see
you saw that.
Yeah, I've seen it a few times. I've got some collectibles too. I've got like a shelf full of stuff from that movie and other movies. But no, so every time I go see these movies, I would see this trailer for this Wicked movie. I'm like, what is this? And every time I kind of liked it more and more. And I'm like, you know what? They got me. I'm gonna go see this movie. And I don't have a tremendous background with musicals, as Brittany can attest. She convinced me to watch Hamilton several years ago when it first came on Disney Plus, and I thought it was great. I enjoyed it. And then I guess kind of around that time, Tick Tick Boom was on Netflix, the Andrew Garfield musical, and so I watched that. I liked it also, but no, Wicked's my favorite musical. Wicked is my favorite movie of 2024. No, I'll say this. Deadpool Wolverine's my favorite. Wicked is the best movie I saw in 2024. It is exceptional. I've seen the movie now 3 times. I saw it once in theaters. It opened the same weekend as Gladiator 2. They tried to set up this thing, I think they called it Glicked or Glicked or whatever. They tried to do the Barbenheimer, which was the Barbie and Oppenheimer deal, and Wicked crushed Gladiator 2. I saw Gladiator 2 on preview night, which is the Thursday before it opens. And that movie was okay when I saw it, but unlike Brittany on the rewatch, I thought that movie was really bad, honestly. And
I've only seen Gladiator 2 once. And
no, what I'm saying is like you said, like you didn't like Wicked on the first watch, but then you liked it more on the rewatch. For me, I watched Gladiator 2 in the theaters and I was like, oh, it's okay. And then I saw it months later on Paramount Plus, and I was like, this is not a good movie.
No, I haven't. I won't even rewatch it.
And it was it was like 220 or whatever, and it felt like forever. It is a excruciatingly long movie with not a ton. I mean, really, you're just rehashing the first movie. But back to Wicked. No, it's just like I saw the movie. It was the Monday after opening weekend, and it was the week of Thanksgiving, and it just kind of it kind of like filled that void for me of like, it was like a holiday movie. It was a blockbuster, but then it felt like a special thing. And it has one of the best endings of any movie I think I've ever seen. I mean, like one of the most epic movies. And even though it isn't a superhero movie, it feels kind of like a superhero movie to me because you have a story with a character, I mean, Elphaba, like she's kind of like the Hulk, but she flies. I mean, every time she gets mad, her powers come out. I mean, like, let's be real. It's not that far off from a superhero thing. So, I love the movie. I can't wait to like just get all into it and get favorite song, favorite scene, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was definitely my jam, and I'm glad I saw it for sure.
I'm glad I brought you over to the dark side. That that is musicals. You're
Yeah.
welcome.
You win. You win again.
I
I
can
know.
show you even more. I watch so many musicals. I've been watching musicals
does.
since I was like 8 years old. I'm so obsessed. And not only with Phantom of the Opera, like Brittany mentioned, I currently own in my possession maybe like 6 different versions of Phantom of the Opera since the first film adaptation in 1923. Because when I love something, I love it. I'm obsessed. That's what I do. I love movies and I love musicals, and Wicked's just one of them.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, it's one of those things where, just like with Hamilton, I saw Hamilton and I was like, I get why people like this so much. And with Wicked the same way. I get why there's a huge fan base, and I thought it was great. And I thought the two leads, which I know Ariana Grande, was considered a supporting actor, but I mean, to me, like, this is like a two-fister kind of movie. You got two lead characters. Let's talk about those two characters, those two actresses, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. Amber, what'd you think about the casting of these two characters and how they took these like iconic roles that, like you mentioned before, were played by Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth in the original musical, for the original showing of the musical, and how they kind of elevated the characters? Maybe they didn't. What are your thoughts on those two actors?
I think both actresses did really well at sprinkling in their own flavor while still being so respectful to the original story. And I like the amount of research. I mean, we've talked before, but I mentioned earlier about how Ariana is genuinely a fan of Glinda, and like she said, like little her went up to Kristen Chenoweth after seeing her perform and saying, I want to be this someday. And Kristen Chenoweth saying, then you will. And like them being able to, like, she was one of the first people to find out that Ariana got the role because they kept in touch. They're still together and like continuing on. And I don't really know how much Cynthia and Idina interacted, but I do know that like it just, even in the performance, it seemed so, I guess, it was respectful to the character. I have zero complaints about it. It just made so much sense for me to see like the transition. Like I felt like this was very, very true to the characters, even if it was a different adaptation. I still felt like it was true to them. Like I didn't feel confused or anything like that. And there are some things that I did see people later on saying that we don't really get to see the development of it. We just get dancing through life, popular, and then they're suddenly best friends. But a lot of that was bonus scenes that were taken out. And hello, G, what's up? My nephew's in the chat. Hello, everybody. Hello, fam. But yeah, I think it was amazing. I loved how they adapted it. I think they did really well in honoring it. I know a lot of people were very, very mad when the first teaser trailer came out, hearing that Cynthia changed the notes of Defying Gravity, but she made it her own. It's still an amazing voice. It's still an amazing voice, an amazing song, and an amazing, beautiful scene. I think a fresh take like that was actually needed because, again, this is almost 20 years old. So, well, it is over 20 years old, but I think it's so interesting to see those differences because I felt fresh. It didn't feel like forced or anything.
Yeah, Brittany, you talked about it a little bit, but go ahead and tell us about the two main characters, Elphaba and Glinda. Then she becomes Glinda. What'd you think about their performances?
I actually started watching right after I finished the rewatch yesterday on Peacock. there's making Wicked, right? Which is like the behind the scenes of actually making this movie. And it starts off with the casting and what the director had wanted. He's like, we saw everyone. We saw everyone. He's like, I thought about casting like unknowns, but then I realized like how big of a show Wicked is and how you absolutely need professionals. And so then you turn to professional singers who can carry these notes and carry the story. And seeing the showcasing of Cynthia Erivo and how she basically was like, I told my team, unless it was a real opportunity, I didn't want to hear about it. And kind of like Ariana, she thought this was a role that she was going to play at some point in her life. And I love how these women have like manifested their roles, right? And to see Cynthia be Elphaba and to see Ariana be Glinda, I mean, it's so fitting because not only are they similar in stature, like they're both very petite women, right? They're like 5'2", 5'3", or something like that, maybe shorter, but they're itty bitty. Their voices melt into one another, like the harmonies and they just mesh so well together. And the very fact that they chose to sing live while filming this movie is incredibly impressive. To sing in
like
general,
Les Mis, it made me so happy.
Yes, exactly like Les Mis. And as a former somewhat trained singer, that's incredibly difficult to do on the stage. Now you're quadrupling this sound stage and projecting, and you're doing these stunts and you're having to dance and you're having to that's a lot, and you're doing it without much more assistance of sound. I couldn't be more impressed with just their raw talent and being able to bring this very beloved stage play onto the silver screen and give it their all. Like they're singing in corsets. Your breathing is so restricted at that point. And then add the safety harnesses, doing flips, doing all these things. It's so freaking impressive. It's not even funny. But hearing them sing together is truly wickedly magical.
Yeah, no, well said. They are, they're both incredible singers. Cynthia Erivo, I'd seen her more, as far as an actor. Ariana Grande, I wasn't that familiar with. I mean, I know obviously she's the pop star, but like I'd only seen her on SNL, and she was pretty funny, but like I did not have any expectations for her as far as like in this kind of a role. But that's the thing about this movie is like, whereas Cynthia Erivo's Elphaba is the hero of the movie, even though she's made out to be the villain, you have Ariana Grande's Linda, who is, she's kind of the mean girl, right? But then but she's also a huge part of the comedy of the film. And she makes you like her, even though she's not supposed to be a character. I don't think you're supposed to like that character as much as I think I did. And I thought she was just really funny. Her comedic timing is spot on, and just her mannerisms and like running over to her bed and her dramatically dropping her head down and just she is super talented.
I think people forget that before Ariana became a very huge pop star, she did like Nickelodeon. She did comedy shows and had to be able to act and have that comedic timing. And then in the particular show that she was on, I think it was called Victorious. This is after my time, so I never watched the show, but all the kids sang and danced and acted and what have you. And so this is not unfamiliar territory for her. And if you listen to her interviews, she started in musical theater. So to kind of come full circle and be able to be in probably the biggest Broadway show of life, if you will, is huge. It's a huge moment for her. And yes, she gave it her all. She gave it her all. And like I said, on the first watch, I'm like, wow, I don't know if this is actually the right role for her. And then the second time I watched it, I'm like, you know what? I'll eat my words. I will eat my words. Perfection.
Yeah. I think they both should have won. I thought Cynthia Erivo should have won Best Leading Actress, and I think Ariana Grande should have won Supporting Actress. I mean, they're so pivotal in this. Obviously, the whole movie's about these two characters. I mean, mostly about Elphaba, but also about Glenda. And I just like I didn't see every Oscar nominated film, so like I guess I can't speak on it, but like I have a hard time believing there were people that were better at what they did compared to what these two people did. So great stuff. Let's move on with the cast. Let's talk about Jonathan Bailey. I know Amber, you're talking about him. He's Fiyero in this film. Again, I'm not familiar with him. I know he's going to be in the Jurassic World Rebirth movie that's coming out in July. It's sandwiched in between, or well, it's before Superman and Fantastic Four. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out in July. But so, what'd you think about Jonathan Bailey playing Fiyero and singing and dancing and dancing through life and all that kind of stuff?
So I'm gonna admit this is kind of embarrassing. I've had the most embarrassing kicking feet, giggling, blushing crush on Fiyero since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's portraying him. I have just a problem. It is every single time that like I think I'm over it, I'll see him in a different adaptation because again I've seen it 4 times. But I'll see a performance of it and I'm just like twirling my hair like, oh my gosh, like I have a problem. I don't know why. Yes, just what Christian said. Daddy, I have a problem, and it's with Fiyero. It's not even with the actors who play Fiyero. It's a problem. I have a big old problem for Fiyero, and so I kind of knew going into it. Like actually, when I mentioned in the beginning of this pod about how me and Kaylee, my friend, when we went to go see it, we donated. We were already going to do the donation to go backstage because that just sounded really cool. The second that they said that the tour was going to be led by the actors of Bach and Fiyero, Kaylee, who's known about this embarrassing crush, was just like, yeah, we're doing it. You have to see Fiyero. You're doing it. So I could barely talk to the man. It was embarrassing. And he was just a dude. I had such a big problem. But Jonathan Bailey did amazing. Again, I am a Bridgerton fan, so he is in Bridgerton. He is the main love interest in the 2nd season, but he's been a main character throughout all of it because he is a Bridgerton. He plays Anthony Bridgerton. So, and again, I'm a huge Bridgerton fan, so I really, really liked it until the 3rd season. His season was my favorite of the 2 before the 3rd season came out, and I genuinely just really, really like him as an actor. I think he was really well playing a heartthrob in Bridgerton, and then when he was cast as Fiyero, I'm just like, oh no. And in the chat, you can see that my family is, saying that I'm not lying. Yes, I had the most embarrassing crush on him, and I still do. It's embarrassing because he's not like my normal list of characters that I usually like or fangirl about. Yeah. So I don't know what it is, but I love that man. And I was very, very excited for him, and he is classically trained too. I knew that in Bridgerton, we don't get to see it in Bridgerton, we just see him acting. So hearing him singing Dancing Through Life just in that preview, yeah, I was a puddle on the floor. And and even my partner was just like, who is this Fiyero guy? Like he was just so like slightly jealous just because of how much I was just squirming in my seat because of Fiyero. I have the most embarrassing crush on him, and so I am so sorry, guys. This is my review. Jonathan Bailey did amazing.
So, Brittany, I want to get your thoughts. What did you think of about the love triangle between Elphaba, Fiyero, and Glenda? And is that also in the play or in the musical?
So yes,
Okay.
it's also in the musical. Yes, Amber girl, go get a fan. Good Lord, go get some cold water, splash it on your face, calm down. Yes, it is. But like I said, in comparison from the stage play to the movie, we're getting to really develop this love triangle that you're just really kind of starting to see. Whereas that's, obviously in the stage play, you get both acts in a matter of 3 hours time. So that's enjoyable because the cute little quirkiness that is Fiyero when he and Glenda first meet, and he's asking her a question, and she's like, well, how would I know? And he looks at her like, our first fight. It's like, what? Like, y'all just met. Like, what is wrong with you? I mean, they're bantering.
They're ridiculous, both of them.
It's ridiculous. Like, and I'm like, okay, this is actually really cute. And I maybe it was the COVID that made me not care for this movie, other than the fact that it was so long. Maybe it was COVID. I'm gonna blame COVID. But I had no prior knowledge to Jonathan Bailey before seeing him in this movie. I have yet to watch Bridgerton. I have yet to watch probably a lot of things, of course. However, I thought he was adorable. I thought he played the role very well. I actually did not know that he was gay in real life up until after I started, like, looking things up, because I thought he did extremely well in this show playing what seems to be a straight man. And I was just like, oh, like, I'm surprised. Like, he's a great actor. Definitely a great actor, in my opinion. Dancing Through Life, seeing him in the libraries. Who was it that just said it here? Yesenia. The library sequences are great. I think I read somewhere or heard in an interview from Jonathan that his suit was so damn hot that they had to like cool him. They had to like install like ice packs or something on him because it was just the fabric so warm, lots of movement, lots of dancing, of course. Like, I think he almost passed out at some point or something pretty severe. But I mean, the fact that he gave it his all, probably was going to risk his health to bring us Fiyero to the silver screen says a lot. Christian, he is one of us. You're silly. I love you. But
Christian, leave me alone.
Oh yeah, bring that ice pack suit to Amber. Give it to her now.
Leave me alone.
Nope, this is what happens when you come on our podcast. Everyone gets ridiculed equally. So.
Oh, I know, and I actually was talking about it earlier today when I told Kaylee that, hey, I'm going to be doing a Wicked podcast. How am I going to be chill about Fiyero? And she's like, simple, you're not.
Hey, self-awareness is key. Okay.
But also Jonathan Bailey was also practicing the choreography for Fiyero on set of Bridgerton.
I did hear about that as well. Justin, what did you think of Jonathan Bailey as Fiyero? Tell us how dreamy-eyed he was for you.
I thought he was a great character. Honestly, I really enjoyed the character. I enjoyed the song. This movie is just like chock full of great songs. There's like 11 big musical numbers, which I love the placement of the music. And really, it's like kind of as you go from scene to scene, you've got a big musical number. And to me, like picking my favorite song, which we're all gonna talk about it later. We're gonna exclude Defying Gravity because that's kind of like the give me. But the rest of the songs are so like close. I do like the message of Dancing Through Life because it's like it's basically like a ignorance is bliss. No, what I'm saying is like I get like that kind of like
my poor boy needed a therapist. What do you mean?
Well, he's saying like life is fraughtless when you're thoughtless. That's quality stuff. Like it's true. I mean, if you can have a much better time if you don't get caught up in thinking about the world and life and what's happening. Like you really could, especially when you're the prince of Winky County. Which if I do have a couple of Winky Country. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Well, I've only seen it 3 times.
How dare you?
I do want to say I have 2 nitpicks and 2 nitpicks alone. The Winky thing, and then also Shiz University. I get like if you've been in this like
Shiz.
Can we come up? It's Shiz. I know SHIZ Shiz. Yeah. I know. I got you. I've watched it, but like
okay.
We're bordering on like Count Dooku Star Wars stuff with Shiz. Like, can we come up with a better name?
It's the Shiz.
I feel like
it's in the book. It's in the book.
I know, but I feel like if they would have said, "Hey, Justin, like, let's come up with some other school names," I could probably do something that was like
Hogwarts. Yeah.
Yeah. Hogwarts 2. Yeah. 2.0.
I mean, hey, props to Gregory Maguire for being like, no, it's Shiz.
It's Shiz.
Props
the
to
whole
him for that. That's funny.
the winky thing, Justin. Every time I hear it, I think about Ace Ventura and the big reveal in the first movie. It's like he found Captain Winky.
Yeah.
Sorry, I digress.
Yeah.
Oh,
One day we're
while
gonna do that. We're gonna talk about the Ace Ventura movies because
Yes!
Brittany loves.
I love
Is
those
the,
stupid
I mean, you
movies.
love both of them, but the first one especially, I think. Yeah.
No, it's the
I love
second
both
one.
of them too. They're
The
great.
second one. Okay. Amber, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I wanted to do it while we're still talking about Fierro.
Yep.
Brittany knows because like she's actually like read the book too. His actual character design is that he is embedded, or that he has like diamond tattoos, the blue diamonds, and it's just really really neat fact. And so I love that his outfit is blue in the show, and like I think in the movie it's just really pretty. And then also it's not perfectly exact, but there are diamonds patterns within his outfit, and it's very 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 subtle. But like my little brain was freaking out because I'm like, they studded my boy. Like it's great. And no, I love Fierro, but there are like, I mean, I love your take of Dancing Through Life. Good, but yeah, boy needs a therapist. He's dissociating too hard. Like, I mean, like, because dust is what we come to, because nothing matters. And it's just kind of like, boy.
I mean, he's not totally
need a
wrong,
reason to
though.
live. I know, but I'm concerned.
He's just having fun, though. Yeah, he's just having fun.
I just need a wellness check. I just give him a wellness check. That's all I'm asking.
Well, I mean, you'll have to have the wellness check at the Oz Dust Ballroom because he's dancing through life, right? So, I mean, the guy's getting his steps in, like trying to make it. Let's move on to another character. What do we think about our wonderful Wizard of Oz, played by Jeff Goldblum? Amber, take it away.
I don't want to go first.
Okay. You want Brittany to go first?
Okay.
Man, how do you go from the MCU? How do you go from the MCU to be the Wizard of Oz? Like, come on. I think it's hilarious.
Jeff Goldblum. I don't know.
I know. It's so appropriate for Jeff. Like, I truly feel like that's his true personality of being this very how do I want to describe it? Just
celestial.
It's celestial. Yeah, exactly. But this very
that's kind of going back to Doctor Who, but whatever.
Oh well, no, it also works for the MCU bit as well. Whimsical. Thank you, Yesenia. Whimsical. That's a great word to describe it. But he's a shock fraud. But Christian said it well too. Jeff is Jeff in every movie, but this was fitting. Like this is very on par with like him, because every time I see Jeff Goldblum, of course, I think back to Jurassic Park, right? That's probably the first movie I ever saw him in as the mathematician or whatever in Jurassic Park. I can't remember. Was he a doctor? I think he was a doctor. But anyway,
he was a scientist, I'm pretty sure.
Scientist of some sort. But anyway, but yeah, Jeff is pretty much in every movie he's in. He's himself. But like this is even more so. And then you tap into like the very musical side as well. And everything sounds great and good. And he's just this wonderful person that came to save Oz, and it's not the case, right? He sells a great story. He's a salesman, right? He's a marketer. And that's I can appreciate the lie because it gained him all the way to the top. But what more can I say? Let me just say, casting, they nailed it. They absolutely freaking nailed it with this casting.
Yeah. Amber, thoughts on Jeff Goldblum as the wizard?
Fine. So he's, I don't know. I just
went first. Like, what more do you want, woman?
Nothing. I think he did great. Really, I do. I loved his performance. I think he did fantastic at kind of showing he's a charlatan, a showman. He's a little oily, I guess is the right word. He's all for show.
Yeah.
And I think that Jeff did an amazing job with that. And I do think he's an amazing actor. I mean, recently, the most recent thing other than Wicked that I saw him in was he played Zeus in the Netflix show. Oh goodness, I'm blanking. But I absolutely loved it. What is Chaos in Chaos? He played Zeus in Chaos, and I think he did a stunning job there too. Like it was just, I believe I was actually watching Chaos in his performance as Zeus when they announced that he was playing the wizard, and or something similar like that timeline wise. But I thought he did a fantastic job with the wizard. I mean, sometimes a lot of people, at least in the performances that I have seen, a lot of times the wizard is played like a sweet kind of goofy old man until the twist, until we learn that he's just kind of using Elphaba and using people with power. So I think he did a good job at kind of showing that he was always a little bit pushy. I don't know if that's the right word. He's a con man. That's what he is. And I think he did a great job at showing that he was always running a con, constantly running a con. And I think he did a great job. Yeah,
no, that's well said. I was going to say something similar. That he definitely was a salesman, and I do think it's obviously. So we find out that he's actually Elphaba's father. He gave her mother the green elixir that she drank before, and then. But my question for y'all is: do we know? Okay, so Elphaba doesn't know the wizard is her father, correct?
No, and she will not learn about that until I don't think she ever really learns about that. It's mostly
spoilers.
No. What I'm saying is I
don't think she ever learns about that.
Right.
And so other characters will find that out. I'm not going to say who, because of spoilers. But some characters will find out, but I'm pretty sure she does not ever find out.
And then conversely, does he know that Elphaba is his daughter? Okay, I'll put it this way. Is that something we would find out in part 2 potentially? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But in part 1, he doesn't know that. Or does he? What do y'all think? Do you think he knows?
No, because at this point, there's no reason for them to think that the alcoholic drink they were imbibing in would cause green children.
Yeah.
This is the only case of it happening, so they never really thought that would actually that's not like a considered symptom of having this drink. Otherwise, more people, because we don't really know what the elixir was. You can it's never really clarified, and you can assume it's probably alcoholic, or at least gives you a fun time. But maybe the wizard brought it from our world. We don't really know. But what we do know is that there's not other green children around. Yeah. So this would be like he wouldn't have the foresight or knowledge to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And now we know that dead, so he doesn't know that connection.
So we know that Dorothy's from Kansas, right? But is the wizard from Omaha, Nebraska, because he says Omaha?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
In other words,
I am pretty smart.
Peyton Manning.
Omaha, yeah.
Omaha.
That's actually his production company name, Omaha.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I did like the wizard. Yeah, obviously, like I said, from watching the trailer, he's the villain. You know that he doesn't have any power. You know that he's trying to get Elphaba for her power, but he does have someone, his right-hand man or right-hand woman, so to speak, who does have some power, it seems. That is Michelle Yeoh playing Madame Morrible. Madame Morrible, better name than some of the other ones, but it could be better. Madame Morrible, not horrible, but could use some work. Amber, what did you think about Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible in this movie?
I have loved her as an actress since I was a small child. I think she is a goddess on Earth. I genuinely love her. I've never been disappointed by a performance from her. I did hear, actually, I was listening to another podcast, and they kind of mentioned that both her and Jeff Goldblum kind of sing more than actually sing.
Yeah.
But and I can kind of get that, but the performances were amazing, and they agreed. And I mean, the outfits, it just showed in like the callous way that she treats Glinda is just perfect. Because I think in the show, it's more just like she doesn't notice Glinda. It's more just like Glinda's off to the side because she's so focused on Elphaba. When here it is shown, no, she clearly dislikes Glinda and does not want her involved at all. And I think that that was a very interesting take and kind of enriches the character and the dynamics between everybody more.
Brittany, what do you think about Madame Horrible?
I love seeing Michelle branch out into something different, and that is a musical. Yes, she's kind of talks, sings, and what have you, but it's still it's done tastefully. It's done tastefully. I love the initial introduction of her when she's speaking to all the new shiz students and how she says, you know, I just want to say we have the highest hopes for some of you. Like, if that isn't real talk, then I don't know what is. It's just so funny. But you could kind of tell there was something off with her character from the jump when Elphaba obviously uses her raw talent, her untapped powers, if you will, makes everything levitate as she was trying to protect her sister. And everyone's freaking out, and then Madame Morble comes up and says, yes, this was me. Like, this is to show everyone you need to expect the unexpected. I'm like, because I haven't gotten to that part yet in the book, but like I didn't remember everything from the play, of course, but I was like, yeah, you're shady. There's something about you. I can't remember what, but this is definitely very telling. Like, you are someone who's going to use people to gain. And obviously we were not disappointed. Right. But her sense of, I think Yesenia said it here in the chat, grace and strength. Like the scene where they're in the Emerald City, Elphaba and Glinda are on the run. The monkeys have been transformed to the winged monkeys, and they're just causing chaos inside the Emerald City, and Madame Morble comes and she's trying to get their attention, and she like claps her hand with such demand and such like ferocity, and she's like, listen. It goes silent. Like, that's amazing acting, like right there. Like, good golly.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared and in love with her.
Yes. Yes, I support this. So, but no, I think she was a great addition, and I love seeing her. I love seeing her costume. Like, the wig was beautiful. The costume was beautiful. And just how she was very honest about herself and her feelings towards Glinda and whatnot. But she's a force. She's a force.
Yeah. So she does have power, correct? Because we know the wizard doesn't. We know Elphaba has more power than probably everyone.
Yes.
But like the part whenever it starts to rain and she makes the rain go away, that she did that, correct? That's her power. Okay.
She said weather is her specialty.
Yeah. So Amber, my question for you. So we learn in the movie that the animals are being mistreated. They're being caged. They're not being able to speak anymore. Did Madame Morble, did she get that ball rolling? Or if not, I don't understand how, like, if the wizard has no power, how is he making this happen? Is that a spoiler for part 2 or?
No? I don't really think it's a spoiler, so I'm just gonna go ahead. Thank you for like Brittany was like advising me on whether it's spoilery or not, so thank you. Well, it is a theory, but you can kind of assume that it's correct. We never get an outright confession about it. Okay. Because when Dr. Dillamond is talking about the history of why animals are going silent, he does mention that it started with the Great Drought. And she has weather powers. I mean, there's kind of implication there that she was behind the drought. And just like what the wizard was saying, is the best way to gain control is to give somebody a really good enemy. Yeah. So the thing with the animals is that the more that you control and restrict them, the less they have ability to. And it's honestly more of a allegory for how all marginalized people are. The more you stamp them down, the more the harder it is for their voices to be heard. And that's kind of where the symbolism is there. So it's more just the animals are losing ability to speak because they're not being given the rights to speak. The wizard is taking it away. And there are animals in the Emerald City, but that's literally just to be like, everything's fine here. See, like this, it's a red herring. It's to throw everybody off. To be like, to get some people on the not right side who are part of this minority to also encourage it.
Yeah, and this is wildly different. I say wildly different from the book because you won't like what the book is about. I'm just saying. Nope. It's still marginalizing like things, but like not like this. This is a little bit more like PG friendlier, something that I think people can relate to. But yes, the connotation of when you get outnumbered by, let's say, a group of beings who show some intelligence and can threaten what maybe someone else's plan may be, who has maybe no intelligence and no power and what have you, what are you going to do? You're going to stamp it out. So that's kind of where we are with that. And to the point, once again, of, when the wizard says, back where I come from, everyone knows that in order to, I forgot how Amber had said it, but basically just to give them a really good enemy. And so, unfortunately, Elphaba is going to kind of fall into that plan of his. Not that she wanted to be a part of it at all, but yeah, that's you can kind of relate that to current events.
Yeah,
just saying.
Definitely.
Just saying.
Yeah. We've kind of covered most of the main cast. I guess the last couple characters we'll talk about. Let's talk about Ethan Slater. He plays Bach Woodsman, the Munchkin who he's in love with Glinda, but she convinces him to ask Nessa Rose, who is Elphaba's sister, who's played by Marissa Bode, to the Ozdas ball. Amber, what did you think about these two actors playing these two roles? And should Nessa kind of be more on her sister's side? She's kind of like, I don't know. That bothered me, honestly.
Yeah, I will let Brittany kind of get more into it, but I think Nessa's not really on her sister's side because she's just been so influenced by her father.
Yeah.
It's not just that, but it's more of the fact that she can't ever really branch out, can't ever really do anything and stuff like that. And a lot of that is at the root unwillingly because of Elphaba. So it's just, I think she has a lot of resentment and a lot of confusion about how she feels about her sister. Because during Dancing Through Life, when they do start kind of dancing, like Glinda goes and helps Elphaba and dances with her, not her sister. And I think that's kind of her way of trying to be like, she doesn't want to be involved with her sister because she wants to be her own independent person and do her own thing, and doesn't really want to be so captivated with or tied up with what Elphaba is and as a being and what she does. Yes, like this, Yesenia said, she wants to be independent. And her dad doesn't really let that happen. And because the dad is so cruel to Elphaba, he forced her to go follow her, even though she didn't want to be followed. And Elphaba didn't want to follow her. But she has to listen to the dad, but it's going to seem like Elphaba is the one intruding regardless. Like, no matter what, she's just not going to have fond feelings for her sister because of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't really have too much opinions on the actors, only because this is the only thing I really know of them. I know
Right.
that this is it. I don't know, and I know so much about the characters, and so there's not much more I can really say without being spoilery.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, same. I mean, I do appreciate that they decided to cast someone who, Vanessa Rose, who authentically understands what it's like to be someone with like these limitations and bound in a way, if you will, and trying to navigate life. And for Nessa to go to Shiz and be away from family, be no longer in her sister's shadow, if you will, she can branch out and be her own person and do the things that whatever it is that she wants to do, and start a whole new life. And unfortunately, it was thrown upon her that her sister would also attend Shiz, and that's hard. That's hard. And I speak, and Amber can relate, as being the youngest in the family, where you see what your older siblings have done or have not done, and you're kind of always following in their shadow, and it's not always the best feeling because that comparison is there, and it sucks. But for Nessa, adding the fact that she is in a wheelchair and people look at people like that differently, it's not a fun feeling because it's maybe not authentic. It's just like, well, I'm going to be nice to you because you're different, and that's not a great feeling, right? So no, I don't think Nessa should necessarily be in her sister's corner, and it's no fault of Elphaba's either. It's just the influence of, like what Amber said, of her father, and then just her wanting to be her own independent self and just being stubborn about what she can and cannot do without some kind of assistance is a difficult road to navigate.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's like Elphaba is so different. She's ostracized for being different, for being green. And you'd think her sister, who is also different, in a different way, she'd be a little bit more on her team, a little bit more supportive. Like if the Glinda character, if Nessa's sister was Glinda, then to me that would make more sense why you'd be like, so, because like Glinda's her life is perfect. Like there's one part in the movie where whenever she finds out she has to room with Elphaba, she was promised a private suite. She's like, I didn't get my way. She's like, something terrible just happened. I didn't get my way. She's like, I have to lie down. Like she's, everything always goes in her favor, and suddenly it doesn't. And whereas go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just think that it's a lot that they were pitted against each other from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the root of it. So yes, they are similar in how they are different from others, and they are a little bit ostracized because of that. They feel othered because of that. They were pitted against each other pretty much since Nessa was born. It's just how they were raised. They were raised not to really have that familial close bond with each other. And we do see that little clip of them when they were little, and she tried, but
I mean, it appears that Elphaba has just tried to protect her sister in the best way that she could, as any older sister would, but that's not always well received. So
yeah.
Okay, that pretty much does it for the cast. Go
Bach.
We didn't really talk about Bach.
Who cares? I will say, Bach Woodsman. Don't forget the name Woodsman. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
There's actually so many Easter eggs to Wizard of Oz throughout this movie, and until you watch Wicked for Good, which I'm assuming we're going to cover on the pod anyway. We can't really tell you about all of them, but there are some ones where, like, you see during Wizard and I. There's other ones where there's a rainbow and there's bluebirds flying over the rainbow. Like somewhere over there. Yeah, like there's small little things like that. Obviously, the lion cub and the bike, and
during Popular, Glinda pulls out red heels and clicks them 3 times.
Yes.
You know, and also for people who might have asked, why were the heels that Nessa Rose wore silver instead of red? And the answer to that is in the original book, The Wizard of Oz. The shoes are not red ruby slippers.
Nope.
They are silver. And it is a nod to that book.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the original, and then also I think there's some debate about if they are still patented. I think.
Yes.
Pretty sure because I follow the Oz blog, and she, our Oz historian, and she's wonderful, and she's talked extensively about that. I'm pretty sure that they are copyrighted, so they did it for that reason, but also the reason in the film The Wizard of Oz why they changed it from silver to red is because they wanted to show off the Technicolor. It would stand out. The red would stand out against the yellow brick road better.
Yes, yes. And also, in case y'all also didn't know about this, Elphaba is almost phonetically saying L. Frank Baum, who's the author of The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Elphaba.
I did not know that. Very cool. Very cool. I did want to say about Bick or Bach. The reason I said Bick is because I was trying to get to the fact that Glinda, he's in love with Glinda, but she doesn't even know his name. She refers to him as Bick. And I love how later on when she meets the wizard, and the wizard has really no use for her, just like how Madame Morble has no use for her. And she meets the wizard, and right away he says, "Oh, nice to meet you, Belinda," or he calls her Belinda, messes up her name. I thought that was kind of apropos, considering how she doesn't care to learn certain people's names. So I enjoyed that part of it.
Good.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Also,
Let's talk about the. Go ahead, Amber.
No, you go.
No, I was just saying I did enjoy the Linda, and then she changed her name to Glinda as a way to honor
solidarity.
Yeah, Dr. Dillingham, the
Dillamon.
Sorry, the voiced by Peter Dinklage. I do love also about how Glinda, she mispronounces words. A lot of people do in this movie.
Everyone does.
Rejoicifying, scandalocious. Yeah.
What was that word?
Gratuitous.
Yeah.
That one.
Or something like that.
But it seems like she does more so than anybody else. Maybe because she has more speaking lines than almost anybody.
Momsy and Popsicle.
Right.
Actually, I was going to say about that, I still call my parents Momsy and Popsicle. I am not kidding. My dad is in my phone as Popsicle.
Yeah, you've referred to my dad as Popsicle. That was adorable.
Oh yeah, I do that to everybody because I call my dad Popsicle. That I just even with my boss when her father comes in, I'm just hi boss Popsicle. I don't know, it's just who we are, and I'm gonna prove it, but
we believe you.
Yeah, see, Popsicle.
Popsicle.
That's my dad. He is. I still do it, and genuinely was kind of sweet. They kind of forgot that I did this, so I went to go see the movie because my parents were visiting from. I moved out of state a couple years ago, so when they came to visit us for Thanksgiving when the movie came out, and we went to go see it together because they took me to go see it for the first time. It was kind of full circle. It was cute.
Yeah.
I took them to go see it, and it was when she was talking about Popsicle and stuff like that that my dad kind of looked at me. I think he forgot that that's where it's from.
I love that.
But yeah, I call him Popsicle.
Adorable.
So we talked about the characters. Let's talk about the locations, because one thing I loved about this movie, I loved many things about the movie, but the set locations, the fact that they built sets, the fact that, you go from Munchkin Land to Shiz to the Ozdust Ballroom to the library, where I love how Glinda says it's this is the book place where they have rare books and even some medium rare books. I like how she knows nothing about the library. And then also the Emerald City, of course. Amber, what did you think about seeing these places on the silver screen and how they looked, how these practical sets looked?
So pretty.
Yeah.
Everything's wonderful. Actually, Universal Studios has actually submitted permits to expand Epic Universe to include Emerald City. I'm very excited. Gosh, it's so beautiful. I just loved all of it. And I don't really see because we have context from the movie The Wizard of Oz and other things in the Oz universe, we see that we see the Emerald City. And so I think this is one of the first times that we actually, like, this is really first time that we actually see solid details of shiz. And I genuinely I went in going off of what we have in the stage play, which is just props of walls. It's like not really much. We don't get to see much of shiz, and I don't remember how well it was described in the books. Mm-hmm. So again, so for me, seeing how shiz was beautiful and like has kind of Venetian style with waterways everywhere and vines and beautiful architecture, I fell in love. I thought it was gorgeous. And of course, the Emerald City was beautiful. Seeing a modern take on the Emerald City was wonderful. I loved it. And we get more details of the map of Oz, seeing not just Munchkin Land and the places that Dorothy went to, but we also got to see in the very, very beginning, we got to see Kiamako, the castle she lives in. Yeah, that was just cool. I loved it.
Yeah, Brittany, go ahead.
I love the fact that they actually planted all those flowers in the opening scene with the Munchkins running through them.
Yeah,
that was super cool because that you could have easily achieved that with like CGI, or I'm going to throw it way back to Star Wars Phantom of the Menace, where they use colored Q-tips to create the people in the stands for the pod racing. That's some trivia for you right there. But I love the fact that they actually did commit to the practical, as Yesenia put it here, commit to the real and practical, which was huge. They had a huge water tank apparently as well, so that's incredible. The train that took the women from Shiz, or the platform, to the Emerald City was real. It was not CGI. It was a legit thing. So it's stunning. And I think for it to have been nominated for an Academy Award and for it to win, I think is so appropriate. It's just so, you can easily become immersed in those sets. And I mean, even the forest was stunning. The fact that there were actually like birds living on the sets and singing along to Cynthia Erivo as she sang was just, I couldn't believe it. It's instead of using, what is it called, Justin?
The volume.
The volume. Thank you. Yeah. Instead of like going that route, like to actually commit to creating practical sets and something tangible is always, it's just so joyful to watch.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We could gush about this movie forever. There's so much to talk about, but like, we're going to start wrapping up here in a second. Let's go ahead. Let's go with, what's your favorite moment, or what's something we haven't talked about that you want to highlight? I mean, there's tons of stuff, but like, what's like the one thing that like this is like my favorite scene, or this is the biggest moment, or
if you need time to think, I've got one.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that we haven't talked about it, but of course I like the forest scene with Elba and Fiyero, but that's because I love Fiyero.
We know.
I do love just like his airheadedness with the, like, oh, he scratched your face, or like you're bleeding or whatever. He must have scratched you, and he's like, or it scratched me or something. Because like he's just so like,
yeah,
having a moment with her. Yeah. It's just how airheaded he is. I don't know. I just loved every single thing. And then we get to see more of that initial, like Brittany was talking about earlier, the initial interaction with Glinda and Fiyero and how they interacted and first met, aside from just dancing through life. Because a lot of it just just swings right into dancing through life in the show. Yeah. So I thought it was wonderful. And just like what Yesenia was saying, the dance with Cynthia and Ariana at the Yule Ball dance.
Did you say the Yule Ball? Get out.
I did say. Oh, I'm a fake fan. Oh God, that's
and
terrible.
The Phantoms crossover.
Yeah, fake fan. At the Oz Dust Ball, they that dance was beautiful because again, it's an amazing moment in the show, but this one, seeing how the emotions and the feelings and how they like her other friends tried to stop her, and she's like no, and the tears that she's wiping away from Elphaba's face,
Not
I
planned.
was crying. I know, but I was crying. It was just that was beautiful. I all of it's beautiful. I love this movie, guys. I'm done.
Yeah.
Brittany, favorite moment or something you want to highlight that we didn't talk about?
We gotta highlight the cameos, y'all. Like the cameos of one Idina Menzel and Kristen. How do you pronounce her name? Kristen Chenoweth.
Yeah.
The OGs, Elphaba and Galinda. Like, come on, they had their moment in this movie of not only performance, singing, and just doing the whole movie justice, but actually directly having contact with their characters, right? When they greet each other, they're singing to one another, and then Ariana Galinda starts with her vocalizing, and Kristen's just like just stop, just don't start singing at all, because they both have like this operatic range, if you will, and it's I thought that was incredible. Just I wasn't expecting that, the storytelling of Oz, and the super factual, super true, story of Oz, and then
propaganda,
and then you bust out with these giants, if you will. Like they're huge in this. Well, not Kristen, she's my height, but anyway, they brought Wicked to life, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have this movie today. And I think it's wonderful that they were able to incorporate them in such a way, such a subtle, but it wasn't subtle. You know what I mean? It was a direct nod and a direct we're not worthy.
I think it was just wonderful that they added that, because that moment is not in the actual original story. Of course, they did it especially for Idina and Kristen, and I had no idea that was even happening. I didn't even know that they visited the set. Like I had zero idea. I knew that they were in contact with them, but I didn't know that they were going to be actually in the film. And my mom and I were like excitedly like shaking each other's hands because we were freaking out. And my partner and my father were like just
there.
They were just like, why are you guys freaking out? And we're just it was wonderful.
And even Idina had her note, the defying gravity note. Exactly. Yeah, I'm not gonna try. Can't do it.
Speaking of cameos, we even got a quick cameo at the beginning of the film. We get to see Dorothy and Toto and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Cowardly Lion on their way down the Yellow Brick Road, which we also got the origin for the Yellow Brick Road. It could have been purple, could have been green, could have been blue, but actually it's Glinda who chose for it to be yellow. So thought that was interesting. Yeah. And now we get to my favorite moment. I know it's like an easy cop out, but like everybody, we can all three talk about this. The final 30 minutes of this movie, it just really cooks. Like this movie is like such a strong ending. Once Elphaba and Glinda go to the Emerald City, once they go see the wizard, then Elphaba finds out that the wizard's using her for her powers. She gets out of there. She tries to convince Glinda to go with her. Glinda like sympathizes with her, but then decides not to go with her. And then you have the epic, you've got Defying Gravity. They're singing their parts. Then, she's jumping out of the window. She's flying on her broom. I mean, just flying all around, telling them, to, look to the west to find her and all that stuff. Then she hits the note, and then like she flies away like Superman. And then it says to be continued. I thought that was like so awesome. Like the final 30 minutes, but the final like 5 minutes are like maybe the strongest ending of a movie I think I've ever seen. And I've thought about this. Like, I think the 3 Dark Knight movies, it's talking about like, as far as like the final thing that you see, like a strong ending, all 3 of those movies end in a very strong way. A lot of the Marvel movies don't really do that because they have the post-credit stuff and whatever. But like, I can't think of another movie that's stronger, the final thing you see, than Wicked. And so I'll let Amber talk about the Defying Gravity moment, the climactic scene in the movie.
I do have a thing about it because me and every single person who was like really, really into the stage production of it was a little aghast and agog because of the soldiers in the musical, the stage show, they say, look at her, she's wicked, get her. They changed it into the movie. It's kill her.
Kill her, yeah.
That like shocked me. I felt like I got slapped in the face. I was just like, oh,
especially
okay.
because both Madame Morrible and the wizard both say, capture her, bring her to me. They both say something similar. Then the guards are like, kill her. Yeah.
It threw me off. I swear it was just like getting like, oh, bucket of water dumped on me. It was terrifying. I thought it was insane to show like how this is a lot more serious than just a girl running away with a book. This is very serious. And I thought that kind of heightened it. It was really great. And I loved the little free fall moment of seeing her younger self and reaching out to her and then getting the broom, the symbolism. I loved it all. It was great.
Yeah. Brittany, your thoughts on Defying Gravity and how the movie ends?
Epic. Absolutely epic. I mean, like I said, for me with Wicked, it was that song, Defying Gravity, that brought that whole world into my life. And I'll admit, it's been since high school since I've thought about the song, let alone sung it. So like I was rusty with the words and the medley and all that stuff. Like I was rusty, but it came back. It came back really quickly. And the storytelling of that final number with her, as Amber said, falling, seeing her childlike self in the reflection and reaching out to her, and therefore finally honing in and controlling her emotions and controlling her magic and being able to be unstoppable. You know, she's unlimited at this point and has the Grimoire, is the only one who can read the Grimoire, because even Madame Warble, after years of trying, can only read 1 or 2 words. I mean, that's true power right there, obviously. Yeah. And so I thought, what a freaking number. What a freaking way to go out with a bang. And it definitely left me wanting more. It left me looking forward to part 2, even though it was such a long movie and I was ready to get out of that movie theater seat, even though it was reclined. But that number for me like saved the whole movie. It saved it for me. And on the rewatch, definitely did not disappoint at all. And once again, I can't emphasize this enough. The fact that Cynthia sang this live, sang this in a corset, in a harness, doing flips, doing turns, doing all this stuff, and have that breathing control down, my goodness. Girl.
Mind-blowing.
Brava.
Yeah.
Brava. I mean, she's exceptional. She's exceptional. And the fact that she, for press, dropped that note for every late night show that she was on, and she dropped it like it's nothing.
Yeah.
The girl is talented. Like, y'all, go. She needs to get her EGOT. Like, she got robbed. If she doesn't get her Oscar for part 2, the world is unjust. Is complete injustice in this world. Like, she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal.
Yeah. And, unlike both of y'all, the first time I ever heard these songs was in the movie. So I'd never heard these songs until I saw them. I mean, well, I guess I saw them in the trailer. So I heard some of them in the trailer. So I can't really say that I never heard of Defying Gravity. But that was the first time I heard it was really in whole was the movie. So, okay, so this is a musical after all. Let's wrap this up by talking about, besides Defying Gravity, what is your favorite song from Wicked Part 1, Amber? What's your favorite song?
Popular is my karaoke song. So I also sing it when I'm like running around my house cleaning. It's definitely fun. Or going through my closet and getting rid of old things. It's definitely fun. I was a soprano back in the old days when I was in high school. So
and country, apparently.
So I like popular, but my actual true answer is Dancing Through Life, and I don't know why.
Shocking.
I have no idea why, guys.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
Not a clue.
Yep.
There's
Brittany?
no reason for it.
Right. What about you, Brittany? Favorite song besides Defying Gravity?
I'm actually with Yesenia here in the chat. What is this feeling?
Wow.
What is this feeling? Loathing.
That's
unadulterated loathing.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their harmonies, it's just so good. That whole scene, just that whole sequence with them, in school, training, lunch, the whole shiz university is in on it as well, and it's such an incredible number. It's so catchy. It's so catchy. Yeah. Popular kind of ranks maybe a little bit lower for me. There are other songs that are ahead of it, of course, but Loathing. Just kidding. I call it Loathing because it just makes more sense in my head. But what is this feeling?
Lots to do. You're not the only one.
It's such a wonderful song.
I also do love The Wizard and I too. I almost didn't want to mention it. I do want to mention it. I love The Wizard and I. It just hits a part of my soul that I just want to belt out with. I can't.
Apparently that soul is country. I'm going to reiterate this. Listen, we're from the South. Okay, I pick up on this too.
I'm from the South technically too. I just don't really have the accent unless I want to.
You're Southwest though, right?
You're Southwest, yeah.
Arizona. Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, still.
Don't take up 95% of the country. It's fine.
So we didn't mention it, but I also like One Short Day in the Emerald City. Like that, honestly, all these songs are really good. And if you listen to them 3 or 4 times, they're going to get stuck in your head all day long. But a lot of great stuff. That's key for a musical to have really good songs, because I don't know that all of them have this many hit songs. And that's something I want to bring up with y'all, because I've heard from people who know the story that say that the problem they see with part 2 is the fact that all of the banger songs are in the first part. Is that true? Or are there some good songs in part 2?
There are songs that my favorite song from the entire show is in part 2.
Okay. Well, that gives me some hope.
It's been a while. I'm rusty on the part 2.
But would you say there's more hits in part 1 or part 2? Which one do you think has the bigger?
The popular hits that everybody knows and is familiar with? Part 1.
Part 1,
yes,
okay.
For sure.
But there are some that, the title for Good comes from one of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The song that I'm referring to, I don't really want to give away because of spoilers, so I can't really say anything about it, actually. But I genuinely love it, and it's a part where my mom cried into. So I guess in a year from now, we'll talk about that. There's also reprises that are pretty good.
Yeah.
I think there's things like that it just kind of hits. There's another song from The Wizard, and like Yesenia's saying, there's more emotional songs in part 2. Okay. So things that are drawing from part 1. So it's definitely going to be not hard to enjoy, but it's going to be a different experience in general, because you're getting all of these emotions and and you're getting attached in the beginning, and the part 2 is more just okay, now we're going to pick at this emotion and pick at this feeling and go at that. So yeah.
I'm really looking forward to part 2. Elphaba was made to be the villain in part 1. I want to see, does she truly embrace it in part 2, or is it, is she actually the hero of this story? And we've got the winner, the quote unquote winner side of the story. So we will find out November 21st, 2025. This year we'll get Wicked for Good, and we're going to talk about that one closer to after it releases in the theaters, I think. So please come back and join us for that. One final thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this to Amber, because Amber, you know a thing or two about wands, and Galinda has some wands in this movie. What's your quick take on her wands? Yeah,
it's so pretty. I really, really want it, and I really want to do a video about it, but I don't have enough substance to do a video about it, because all we know is it's a basic training wand because Madame Morrible's just like, it's a training wand. And she just throws it around during Popular a couple of times. But I love it. It's so pretty. It actually very much suits Glinda, aside from being pink because it's like glass and silver. I think it suits who Glinda grows to become because it does seem almost to echo the wand that she it's technically called a wand even though it's more of like a staff that she has in the Wizard of Oz, and we see her in the beginning of the film during No One Mourns the Wicked. That wand is longer, it's star-studded, it looks reminiscent of the one from The Wizard of Oz, the classic movie. So I think that this was literally like the baby version. And I have a cat getting in the screen. No, baby. So I really, really loved it. And I'm actually, I really, really want it too for like my wand collection. But again, I don't know if I can do a video on it because I don't have any information about it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe we can find some information when by the time For Good comes out. Maybe that can happen. Let's do final thoughts now. Wrapping up our talk on Wicked Part 1. Brittany, final take.
It was better on the second rewatch.
Yeah.
Just saying for me. I mean, I feel bad because I have that musical background as well as some theater background. And I just didn't quite enjoy it on the first watch. But it definitely was better for me on the second watch. I think probably because I could watch it at my own pace. Gotta love that pause button, y'all. Gotta love that pause button. And then sometimes I had to rewind because I'm like, wait, what did he say? Like, what just happened? But that's just me. Don't let my experience knock you, the audience who may or may not have watched this movie just yet. Don't let that spoil it for you. I do encourage you to give musicals a chance. Musicals that have now been adapted to the silver screen. Please give it a chance. You might surprise yourself, like Justin, who hadn't really enjoyed musicals up until Hamilton. So, you know, we're doing some things right here, y'all. We're doing some.
There's a musical for everybody, really.
There should be, yeah. But no, overall, I enjoyed it. I love the sets. I love the costumes. I'm still watching Making Wicked, which is the behind the scenes of making the movie. And I was on the part where they were making Glinda's pink dress and just the thought behind it all with the Fibonacci and the cones and how many cones it took to make like the pleats looking. Oh my God, so stunning. Just beautiful, stunning. Love it. Wonderful. Bravo to the costume designer who won the Oscar for it. So yeah, it's well deserved.
Yes, it was. And so if you're watching our podcast now or later, you can see Amber now has Elphaba's hat. But I want to make a request, Amber. You've got Elphaba's hat, but can you do Glinda's hair toss?
Yeah, but I'll lose the hat.
Wait, can I do it? I wonder if I can do it.
Can you do it? Because we had to mention that. Like, that's such a funny part.
Justin, you can do it too. Just imagine.
You can do it too. Yes.
Imagine.
You do it too.
I only have the hair. Yeah.
Ready? Okay, let's see. Let me back up a little bit before I hit things. It's like, toss.
There we go.
Toss. Leg.
Yeah, I just love how she's so like dramatic and so like all of her movements are so strong. You know, like it's I thought Ariana Grande is great in this movie. Just blew me away.
She's
Both
funny. She's got comedic timing.
She's very funny.
She's talented for sure.
Yeah. So Amber, go ahead. Final thoughts on Wicked.
No, Yesenia just mentioned one of my favorites. It's Repo Genetic Opera. It is a horror opera musical, and it is so grungy, and it is like the same production company and goodness gracious as the Saw movies. But I love Repo Genetic Opera, but all of them are great.
I will also
Yesenia's been mentioning.
I will also attest to the Book of Mormon. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was a hilarious Broadway production. Paris
Hilton is in Repo the Genetic Opera. Just so y'all know.
Jesus, help us all.
Not sure if that's a reason to watch or reason not.
Her name is Amber.
Okay, well then
Aw.
that makes it better. Okay, there we go.
No, it doesn't, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's genuinely a good musical. I love musicals, so I can go
Yeah.
for days.
Yeah. So, Amber, final thoughts on Wicked Part 1.
Give me more. I love it. It was wonderful. It was fantastic. I keep saying wonderful, and that's kind of a joke. That's kind of a pun. But I'm having a great time with it. I genuinely am so happy because when I was a little 12 and 13-year-old girl first getting into Wicked, I had my best friend who had to just listen to the soundtrack with me to talk about it with. No one knew about it in my social group. I didn't have anyone to talk about it with. And much less somebody, if they did listen to me talk about it, they didn't care. They didn't know they didn't pay attention to what I was talking about. Like my family, I was talking about it for about 2 years before they took me to go see it. And they were shocked that it's about the Wizard of Oz when I was making it very clear. So now that, everybody's talking about it, everybody knows about it, I feel a little bit more like, hey guys, like, yeah, it's an amazing thing. Let me share this joy with you finally. It feels amazing.
Yeah, we're all trying to catch up with you now. So yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, no, Wicked Part 1 was great. We can't wait for Part 2. So now you know what we thought about the movie. We want to know what you think about it. And Brittany, how can people let us know?
As always, join us in our live chats. As you can see, we have a lot of fun interacting with y'all, getting your feedback, your comments, your questions, and just overall having a great time talking about something that we all love here on the live stream. So join us next time for the live stream. Be sure to hit that notification bell that way you know the next time we go live. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. We are currently on the road to 500 subscribers. So help make that possible by the end of this year. Hopefully before we talk about Wicked Part 2, if you will. So that will be fantastic. Don't forget to hit the like button as well on this video if you've enjoyed our review on Wicked, or if you just enjoy Wicked overall, or if you are Wicked like me. Let's just go with that. You can also find our social media links in the description box down below. And if you're watching the replay, please be sure to leave a comment as well. We would love to hear your thoughts and what you are looking forward to seeing in the next Wicked installment. Lastly, be sure to check us out on our audio podcast available to you on Apple and Spotify. Give us a follow and give us a 5-star rating.
Thank you, Brittany. I appreciate it. Amber, you've got your own channel and you've got a lot of stuff. Please plug away. What do you got going on?
Thank you. My channel is All of Amber's Wands, a study of wands and wand lore in the wizarding world of Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and everything in between. I collect wands and I talk about the cultural, symbolic, and historical meaning of the wood, the core, the whole shebang, comparing that to the character who owns the wand. And like I mentioned with Glinda, I want to do that too. Definitely want to branch out more, and my videos are mostly about that at the moment. I am going to be branching out to other factions of Harry Potter and stuff like that, not just doing the Harry Potter core videos. I'm also going to get a little bit into Fantastic Beasts, Hogwarts Legacy, I'm covering all of the new wands from Epic Universe as we're getting more information about them, slowly but surely. So that's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely follow Amber on YouTube and check out what she's got coming up next. So Amber, it's always great to have you on the show. We really appreciate you joining us. And of course, Brittany, thanks for always being here. And so let's get out of here. So for Brittany and for Amber, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Look towards the western skies.